Welcome to the channel to this 5,500 point battle report between Chaos and Space Marines. In this battle, Huron, the Black Heart, will be leading a Chaos Nurgle Space Marine army against the Space Marine chapter, known among other names as the 13th. Huron and his Astral Claws have been battling against the 13th off and on during the Badab War, and now finally Huron, after being defeated, has pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, and the 13th have been chasing him, have been hunting him down, and Huron has called to the forces of Chaos for aid. So this battle has taken place just after the Badab War, before Huron forms the Red Corsairs and becomes known as the Blood Reaver. Huron is still in his shiny Astral Claws armor, but he has fallen to Chaos, and we're going to be using the rules for him from the Chaos Space Marine book. He has called upon the powers of Nurgle to help him out, and the powers of Nurgle have responded. The 13th have been chasing him, and they've come to this place. This is called the Wall of Lies, because the locals hear the wind blowing through these rocks, blowing through these crags, and it whispers lies in their ear. It is a great rift running down the center of this giant plateau, and they thought they had a Huron trapped on one side, but his Nurgle Chaos Space Marines come spilling out of the wall and are reinforcing him, are backing him up, and he's going to push back and push back hard against the 13th. So as the Space Marines spilled forward, they weren't aware that Huron was about to be reinforced, and reinforced significantly. The Wall of Lies, the Great Rift, blocked their auspexes. They did not know that Huron had a plan all along, his tactical genius coming into play once more. In this battle, there will be two huge forces meeting on a 6x4 table. It's going to get very dirty very quickly. There will be rules of escalation, with some of the army starting on the table and the rest of it pouring in. There'll be ordnance barrages coming in. There won't be any First Blood, Slay the Wall of Linebreaker. There won't be any strategic assets. This is a war to the death. We're going to answer the question once and for all. Are the 13th going to be torn apart? They have never been deployed in such high strength, in such high numbers before. Or will Huron be smashed and be sent screaming back into the warp with his new friends? All right, let's go and have a look at these armies. This is 5,500 points worth of Space Marines using Untitled Chapter tactics. It's basically unbound. It could make a combined arms detachment, all three of them, if I had a look, but I just, honestly, at this level, just chucked it all together. Keep things simple. Everything in this army is WYSIWYG. So the troops over here, I got scouts, unit of 5, unit of 10, Camel Cloak, Sniper Rifles. There's a missile launcher in there, and there's 4 Land Speeder Storms. Again, they're all WYSIWYG. 2 are set up for close combat, 2 are set up with bolters, and there's 40 tactical Space Marines along the back. 2 with las cannon Razorbacks, 2 with Rhinos. These 2 squads here have got las cannons in. These squads here have got a mixture of las cannons, plasmas, things like that. The Imperial Marine, Brother Corlin's coming as well with his instant death gun. Might actually be able to get to use it this time. So lots and lots of bodies, and then punching ahead of them, 2 Land Raiders full of Hammer Terminators. And Brother Captain Solgarrow's coming with his Relic Blade, and he's got the Shield Eternal, and joining him in that Crusader will be Chaplain Snow. So that's a significant hammer, and that's another significant hammer with which to beat my opponent with. And then backing up the troops and the elites pushing forward, this is my Dakar section. Tech Marine with 2 Plasma Cannon Servitors, unit of 5 Devastators with missile launchers, 2 quad mortars, 2 quad bolters, they're going to be separate, 2 Thunderfires, they're going to be separate, Contemptor Dreadnought with Keras assault cannons, and a Predator with an autocannon las cannon. So Dakar, push, troops, and then adding on to this, my fast attack, my response units are over here. 2 Talons. The Storm Raven's loaded up and ready for bear. I've got 6 Terminators in there. One's got Chain Fist, Cyclone Missile Launcher, and Brother Matthias is coming. A Dreadnought with a Melter and Heavy Flamer. I've got a Fire Raptor as well. 4 separate attack bikes, and then there's a Dreadnought, an Ironclad, and Grav Centurions with a level 2 Librarian attached, all coming out of drop pods. There are no formations in this army list. We agreed beforehand, no formations, just lots and lots of models beating the snot out of each other. With Iron Hands Chapter Tactics, it should keep some of my stuff alive. 6 up, feel no pain, particularly as most of Tom's army will have Shrouded, or 5 up, feel no pain. Honestly, I just have to say, when I built this army, I was just thinking bodies, bodies, bodies. Let there be sweet, sweet murder. This is 5,500 points worth of Chaos Space Marines. It's a triple combined arms detachment, and everything's got Mark of Nurgle. Leading the army will be Huron Blackheart himself, the Blood Reaver. This is just after he's fallen to Chaos, and his armor is still nice and shiny and pretty. And joining him in battle is a Chaos Sorcerer, Typhus, and a Chaos Champion. In the troops, we've got Chaos Space Marines in a Rhino with Dozer Blades, Chaos Space Marines in a Rhino with Dozer Blades. Everything is WYSIWYG. I'm not going to point at everything we've got here. It would take far too long. And over here, 20 zombies. Over here, 20 zombies. And then we've got Plague Marines in Rhinos, Dozer Blades, Plague Marines in Rhinos, Dozer Blades, Plasma Guns in there. We've got Chosen, a Vindicator with Siege Shields. We've got Nurgle Bikers, Toughness 6, very tough. We've got 2 Demon Princes with Wings, jinking away, giving them Shrouding. That would be a 2+ jink. We've got a Tri-Predator, Las Cannon Predator thing, Mutilators, Terminators, Obliterators, Hellbrute, Mauler Fiend, Land Raider, and a Typhon, super heavy tank. That thing chucks out a 10-inch. Sorry, that's a 7-inch strength 10 EP1, ignores cover, ordnance barrage. It is filthy. If it moves, it only fires 24. If it stays still, it fires at 48. It's basically a super powerful whirlwind, which will absolutely decimate me. We've got 2 Helldrakes. Both of these got Bale Flamers, yeah? Yep. And a Fire Raptor gunship. So in this army, everything that can take Mark of Nurgle has got Mark of Nurgle, and everything that can take Veterans of the Long War has got Veterans of the Long War. It's very expensive, but it should be resilient as hell. And I did a showcase video on this army, so if you want to see some more pictures, go and click on that thing. I'll leave a link in the video description below. We've deployed, and the only thing on the table for the 13th are the scouts, some snipers here, some snipers there, and the storms. They've come racing forward towards the wall of lies, and they've found that Huron is waiting for them. Huron is in this one with the Chosen, Typhus is in this one with the Terminators, and then we've got the super heavy tank and a demon overlooking the battlefield on this side of the table. It looks like it's a trap. Not only have the 13th, the scouts raced forward to engage the enemy, but the enemy has got the upper hand. The Chaos Space Marines will be going first in this fight. A couple of rules for you guys. We're going to be rolling for reserves from turn 2, and the reserves will be rolling on. Each army also has got D3, Strength 9, AP3, Ordnance Barrage blasts coming in every single turn. There's artillery in the distance, Earth Shaker cannon shells raining down, so D3 will be coming on my side, and then D3 on the Chaos Space Marine side every single turn. Deployment is also a bit funny. The Chaos Space Marines can deploy up to here and all the way along up to there. They can deploy coming from that edge, from this edge, from the rear edge when they came in, and the same with the 13th. They can deploy up to here and all the way along and up to there when they come in. So 3 different table edges to deploy from, 3 different table edges to deploy from, as more and more forces stream forward and join this fight. So this battle grid is looking pretty empty right now, but it's gonna get full, it's gonna get dirty, shells are gonna be raining in round after round after round, and as I mentioned, this is a fight to the death. This is a fight until someone quits, someone gives in. Either Huron and his new friends will be vanquished and thrown back to the warp, or the 13th would suffer a defeat like they have never suffered before and will be smashed apart. Couple of other things worth mentioning. Both of these winged demon princes are psychers. My level 2 librarian did get perfect timing along with prescient, so he'll be firing ignores cover grav rounds, which is very, very nice. This demon up here has got Iron Arm and a spell familiar. There's a few shenanigans going on. I'll explain them as we go on into this fight. Anyway, without much further ado, let's move on to turn 1. Into turn 1, and with a rumble of heavy treads, both of the Land Raiders have breached the Wall of Lies and fired snap rounds at the first speeder, causing it to jink, but it's okay. The big demon up there has got Iron Arm on him, and then the Typhon fired down at the unit of 5 scouts here, obliterating 4 of them, and this chap is falling back. And Earthshaker shells came raining down, forcing both of these land speeders to jink, but they scattered and blew up 2 of the scouts in this squad. So an aggressive push forward at the start of the game from the forces of Chaos. Scouts taking hits and dying. Shells raining in from far, far away. And what is this tiny little scout force going to do against this vast armor that's coming down against them? There's very little weapons here that can actually hurt them. Let's move on to Space Marine turn 1. End of turn 1 for the 13th, and the land speeders repositioned. This one over here with the dice on it has got immobilized. Scouts over here trying to pull back and away from the murder death that's inside that land raider there. And the ones in range tried to take on that demon prince, which is jinking and did nothing. However, a barrage shell came flying in, took a glancing hit off that Typhon. That made me happy. But apart from that, precious little happened. The scouts are just pulling back, calling desperately over the Fox for support as these land raiders smash towards them. But before the rest of the 13th can get here, the Chaos Space Marines are calling out for their reserves as well. Let's see what comes on the table in turn 2. This is the end of the movement and shooting phase for the forces of Chaos. Their reserves came in rather piecemeal. The Mauler Fiends are in here. They're all separate units. The Spawn, the Vindicator, the Bikes. Only 1 unit of troops. Both of the Helldrakes staying off. The remainder of the troops and all the Plague Marines staying off. Zombies rushing in on this side of the table to bubble wrap that Typhon. Predator in the backfield, looking for firing lanes through the Wall of Lies. But it was a poor reserve roll. Still more than half of this force is off the table. And then what could they do with this amount of firepower? Well, this is what they could do. Every single one of the land speeder storms has blown up, has exploded. This unit here are pinned. The other units have lost men, but they are not pinned. And then Huron's boots are on the table. He's ready to charge into these scouts. I don't think they're going to be remaining. I don't think there's going to be many remaining, or they're all going to die horribly to this assault. As predicted, Huron and his Chosen made his way through those scouts with no casualties taken in return. So the forces of Chaos are here en masse. There is just a few scattered scouts remaining, screaming, calling out for help, and now the reserves are coming in. This is the end of the movement and psychic phase for the 13th, and they are here. About 2/3 of the army are now on the table, including Solgarrow and Chaplain Snow inside this Crusader, facing Huron himself. But before they have a chance to assault him, there's a lot of firepower about to crash into Huron's units. Some artillery here, Storm Raven, Talon there. I figured that Huron and his Chosen don't want to face the Hammonators here and the Dreadnought, that after I've smashed into him, he might have to jump back into his Land Raider. He could stay on the table. It'll be interesting times, interesting decision for him. Alternatively, I might be able to throw enough firepower in there to take him out. The remaining 5 Hammer Terminators are on this side because Demon Princes don't like Hammer Terminators, particularly ones that can jink. But you can't jink a hammer to the face. And there's Terminators in there, so there could be Terminator on Terminator action here. And I've lined up as many las cannons as I can to get rounds into them. Devastators along the backfield, another Thunderfire cannon in the backfield. These scouts are still pinned. The two Razorbacks have got 5 men in. I've combat squadded where I can. The other half of those combat squads are still in reserve, and this thing is looking beautiful front armor shots at that Typhon there. But Garrow has also ordered all the attack bikes in on this flank to try and multi-melter that to death. In the meantime, a barrage came in, an Earthshaker shell, and took 1 more hull point off of it. We agreed before the fight that the drop pods would roll for reserve, that drop pod assault would not happen. This is an escalation fight after all. The pods had not been fired from the tubes. And this squad here, well, they got misplaced. They ended up right in the backfield, and perfect timing was denied because I was going to fire in and try and kill some of these Nurgle bikers. The Ironclad's in there to support him as this one came whistling away from the coordinates. The Ironclad is near here to try and protect him in case they get smashed. Of course, the Chaos Reserves can come in here or they can come in there. These lone heroes are going to get surrounded very, very quickly. And my Fire Raptor is up here, ready to chuck rounds down as well. And I've got Power of the Machine Spirit, something this Fire Raptor does not. So I'm going to chuck a missile shell into the side of that Fire Raptor as well, trying to bring it down. So there are fights breaking up left, right and centre of the table. There is some penetration from the 13th in the Chaos lines. There are flyers all over the place. There's ordnance raining down from the skies. We're going to move on to the shooting phase now, and I'm going to put so many rounds into Huron, I'll be amazed if he's still standing. Just die, Huron, die! The shooting phase is over, and as the dust settles, Huron the Blackheart has been slain, and I wish I filmed it because despite all the firepower that came crashing into those crags, despite a Thunderfire cannon, despite the artillery, despite the Storm Talon, despite the Crusader, it was one lone scout with a pistol that shot him in the face and brought him down. And in the meantime, the Dreadnought managed to blow open the Land Raider with his multi-melter. A great cheer goes up amongst the 13th lines. The man they've been hunting for, the Tyrant of Badab, is dead. Then in other news, more shots come smashing into this Land Raider. It's dropped 2 hull points, and the Typhon blew up as well. It was the multi-melter attack bikes which managed to blow the crap out of it. As you can see, there's a big gap of zombies left when it went apocalyptic. So Huron Blackheart and the Super Heavy dead in one turn of shooting. And the other great success was the Grav Centurions cleared away the bike squad that was there, and the Ironclad hiding behind that pod has stunned that what's it called? Vindicator. It's called a Vindicator. The Fire Raptor was not so successful, and many of the guns were out of range. I've been shooting at that demon for a couple of turns now, and it just jinks right, it just jinks left, and it's fine. Still gliding its way across the battlefield. But no doubt that this Chaos Nurgle army has suffered a grievous blow this turn. Nevertheless, still 2/3 of their army have yet to come on. The Helldrakes have yet to come on. We're going to roll for reserves now. I am still terrified about the amount of force that Tom can bring against me. This is the end of the movement and the psychic phase, and the army of green Chaos advances. Fire Raptor further up the field. One of the units of obliterators with Marker Nurgle is in, looking at taking on this Land Raider. Chaos Land Raider turning around, looking at snap firing up at my Fire Raptor, of all things. And that's pretty much the penetration that Chaos has down here. And then we've got demons, demon engines, and more demons in the backfield. As predicted, my Centurions are in for a world of hurt. There's a Hellbrute just wandered on right next to them. And then round here, Plague Marines are out, and they're going to wreak sweet vengeance on those bikes for taking out that Typhon Super Heavy tank. In interesting news, these Spawn have turned around, and it looks like they're going to lock up the Ironclad for the remainder of the game. They'll be fearless, they won't be able to break free, and they're toughness 6, they've got a demon. That fight will go on and on and on and on. That'll be the end of days for the Ironclad. So there's still a Helldrake in reserve, still a unit of Plague Marines in reserve. for the forces of chaos, but this fight is breaking up into lots of micro fights all over the place. Some on the right flank, some on the left flank, and the centre of the table is curiously empty at this time. Now Huron is gone, it feels like the forces of chaos have lost a little bit of cohesion and have got a bit more chaotic. Of course, that's probably what Grandfather Nurgle planned all along. Let's go on to the shooting phase. End of the turn for chaos, and Space Marines are dying along the backfield, but not falling back. Shots from the Fire Raptor proving very, very painful. And shots up at my Fire Raptor caused it to jink and lose a hull point from the Land Raider down there. And then looking along the lines, the Ironclad is now locked up with some Fearless Toughness 6 spawn. Centurions are dying. Gonna have one last chance with doing some grav rounds at someone before they get wiped out. And a lot over here, failed charges, but one of the attack bikes is dead. The Bell Flamer, a couple of ones rolled. The Bell Flamer did not burn his way through all of those bikes, but that demon made short work, mincemeat of the attack bike that he assaulted. Ultimately, only minor losses suffered by the 13th so far, but most of their army is on this side of the table. Most of the Nurgle is on this side of the table. Let's see what reserves come on. Let's see if we can rid this battlefield of this chaos filth. End of the movement phase, and the 13th are here, and they are here in style. Every single one of them is now deployed -1 attack bike. That could be a telling advantage as we go later into the turns in this game. The Chaos Reserves have come on piecemeal by piecemeal by piecemeal. It looked like the 13th were outnumbered and trapped. It looked like the Scouts had been baited forward into a desperate battle that they could not win. But in return, the remainder of the 13th have come pouring in. There is just a wave of blue crashing against this mountain of chaos. This could prove to be a very pivotal turn. Hammonators are out of this Land Raider there, and they're going to try and take on those Obliterators along with all the firepower that is pointing at them. Hammonators and Sol Garrow is out on this side of the table, having watched through the viewports Luft Huron get dragged down. Now they've decided to make their presence felt because there's some Mutilators on the other side there, which they need to take care of. Of course, we just got a wall of guns aligned along the back edge. The Contemptor's in, it can fire up or across. This Land Raider's pushing around, bikes pushing around, and then flyers over on the left flank. This is the end of turn 3, carnage, left, right, all over the place. The skies are full of demons and flyers and burning helldrakes. It's a mess out there. But I think the forces of light and righteousness are winning. Sol Garrow and Chaplain Snow made it into assault with those 2 Mutilators and murdered them. And the Storm Raven managed to pop open that Land Raider with a precise multi-melter hit, and then the remaining firepower from the support in the backfield, those units that didn't run forward. Well, this is what they've done. Typhus and 2 Terminator bodyguards are all that remain. I'm beginning to clear my back lines, but it looks like Typhus has got Sol Garrow and these hammers in their sight. This Fire Raptor is jinking left, right, and all over the place as las cannon fire and auto cannon fire flicker up at it. And the Terminators that came spilling out of that Land Raider, well, they made short work of those Obliterators, but lost 2 of their number in return. And they are running in behind to try and take on Typhus as well. It looks like that Chaos Lord is going to get trapped in a Hammonator sandwich. I had put rounds into those Obliterators before I decided to charge him with those Assault Terminators, but Mark of Nurgle Obliterators are nothing if not resilient. They were just shrugging through las cannon fire and assault cannon fire. And the attack bikes have flattened out from here over there, mainly trying to get away from this demon who will murder them very, very quickly. and both of them are jinking, and if Typhus wants to assault a single attack bike, he can. So we're trying to sneak away around them, and then there was some firepower coming in this way, and from the Fire Raptor and from the Storm Talon, down into the Mechanoids, down into the Chaos Remnants in the backfield, and I didn't do anything at all back there, except for managing to shake this Vindicator one more time. So the remaining reserves for the forces of Chaos are about to spill out of the warp and on to this tabletop. This fight is getting bloody. This fight is getting nasty. There is a Rhino back here behind Snow and his Hammonators. Is Typhon gonna drive a wedge through the forces of the Space Marines? What can they do? Let's find out in turn 4. The remaining Chaos reserves are on. Both Heldrakes flying up and over the Wall of Lies, and this Demon Prince is about to make short work of that Contemptor Dreadnought. And in the backfield we have Obliterators deep striking in. Rolled a perfect hit. Chaos is now in the back lines. Fire Raptor jinking away, and Typhus closing in on Chaplain Snow and those Hammonators with Sol Garrow. And talking about closing in, more reserves spilling in this way. There's a Mutilator, there's Plague Marines, there's a lot of bodies, and a lot of firepower is about to come this way. It could be very, very bloody. In the backfield, these guys have disembarked from their Rhino. I'm going to try and kill the last Centurion. The Predator is pivoting. These guys back inside their Rhino moving up. The Mauler Fiend moving up. When we look on Chaos side of the table, there's very little bodies left. Most of them are now up here, trying to bring as much murder as they can amongst the Imperial forces. We're getting towards the end game now. Let's see what these Nurgle Chaos Space Marines can do. At the end of the shooting phase, the Earthshaker cannon came down on these Terminators here to little effect. But the Bell Flamers on the Heldrakes melted one of these bikes. The Obliterators back here blew up the Dreadnought, killed a couple of scouts. The Fire Raptor, despite it jinking, tore apart the gun that this Tech Marine was attached to. About 3 of the Hammonators here have been murdered by the combined fire. There's Plasma and Melter in there. Just 2 Hammonators, a Chaplain and Garrow have got to fend off against Typhus and the Mutilator. That's going to be interesting. The Centurion in the backfield is dead. Fire Raptor jinking again. All in all, it was a pretty productive turn for the forces of Chaos, and now we've got assaults coming in. Not only is this assault coming in here, but there's the demon over there as well. Tom is beginning to smile again, that evil smile that he has. So let's move into the assault phase and see what Typhus can do. In the assault phase, that demon made short work of the Contemptor, and this Mauler Fiend round there charged into the Razorback and wrecked that open as well. So we have combats down this side of the table which are successful, which are beginning to push the 13th back. And then round here, Typhus made it into assault, challenged Garrow, and Sol Garrow has been brought down. He's fallen. The remaining 2 Hammer Terminators are still standing along with Chaplain Snow, and they're locked in there with a Mauler Fiend and with Typhus and with those Terminators. It is a bleak fight. I've got very few people who can come in and join them. Now with demons in my lines and only an attack bike swinging in, it's getting desperate. We're getting towards the end times here. Let's move on to turn 4 for the 13th. This is the end of my movement phase, and Typhus forgot about the Storm Raven that was screaming overhead. It's dropped down into hover mode and unloaded its cargo. Brother Matthias, honoured Brother Matthias, the ancient dreadnought, is about to make sweet murder amongst those Chaos Space Marines, and he's backed up by 6 Terminators. I may be able to turn the tide of that fight yet and rescue Captain Snow and take Garrow's injured body away from the battlefield. This is going to turn into one big brawl. The other Terminators that were here were enfeebled by that Demon Prince, so they've jumped back in that Land Raider, there's no point in them staying out. And then I've got Firepower ready to ping in on it. No doubt it will jink again and get its 2+ cover safe, but I've got to start doing something to it because I can't have it just wrecking and wrecking and wrecking its face. The Terminators can stay in there until they get back up to strength 8 and the power of that spell wears off, and then they can assault it. As for the Mauler Fiend, well, the last attack bike is on here, ready to take it out. Forge Fiend, sorry, and another attack bike there. There's a las cannon in this squad from the Razorback that was ripped open. Hopefully that's enough firepower to hurt it. My flyers are moving up, crisscrossing, overlapping attack patterns, ready to pull the trigger on these units in the backfield. It was important for these Storm Talon pilots to fly past the vector burners, to fly past the tails of these Helldrakes, because Helldrakes can vector strike Talons out the sky. They tear at them like paper planes, so I needed to get past them to keep them alive. So while the air power of the 13th does its thing on this side of the Wall of Lies, down here it's getting very, very messy. Let's pull the trigger. Let's kill some Chaos Space Marines. In the shooting phase, I managed to blow up one of those obliterators and put the last one down to 1 wound, but some of the plasma shot fire from the Tech Marines unit bounced back off the obliterator and killed one of the servitors there. And now that remaining obliterator is going to get charged. There's a lone scout coming in to soak up the Overwatch, and the Tech Marine from the gunner is going to try and finish him off. So there was some success. Meanwhile, around here, all the remaining shots firing into that demon took a wound off of him. Very, very frustrating. But the attack bikes, followed up with the Storm Raven, were able to take down that demon engine. It blew up, no casualties taken out, and the Talons were able to wreck this Rhino here and kill the remaining Plague Marines that spilled out of it. But apart from those successes, that's all that happened in the shooting phase, including the barrages that are coming in. The stuff that I'm firing at now is extremely, extremely resilient. Now we're on to the main event. Can I rescue the remaining Hammonators from Typhus? In the assault phase, the Tech Marine gunner got cut down by the obliterator and is locked up with that scout. That was bad. That was very, very bad. But over here, it was good. Very, very good. I lost a Hammonator, and Chaplain Snow took 1 wound while in combat with Typhus, but we managed to kill the remaining Chaos Terminators, and now he's surrounded by a Chaplain, an Assault Terminator, 6 Terminators, and a Dreadnought. Is there anyone that can rescue Typhus? Is there anyone brave enough to come wheeling into a combat with all those Terminators and Dreadnoughts? Or will these Chaos Space Marines and Plague Marines just watch him die? Let's move on to turn 5. The movement phase, the Chaos Marines, scared that the Ironclad will finally break free from the last of the spawn, re-embarked in their Rhino, and they are now there. The Vindicator can fire for the first time. It isn't shaken and stunned, and look, there's a Land Raider coming over the crest of the Wall of Lies. A dead shot, no doubt. Over here, the Predator has moved around because that Storm Raven is in hover mode. He's feeling very lucky. The zombies continue their march forward. I think there's some Bale Flames coming in from these Helldrakes at these units of Space Marine Tacticals in the backfield. And talking about the Storm Raven, if the Predator can't take him down, then no doubt this demon will have Iron Arm on him again and try and rip it apart. This thing is beginning to annoy me, and he's joined by his brother who's up and over, and with a good charge he can make it down towards the Terminators. This is turning into an Eye of Terror in its own right, because all of these guys look like they're about to lend their weight in. It's strange. No matter all the fights and micro fights and shooting on the other side of the table, this one fight down here, right beneath the Wall of Lies, could determine the whole battle. The tides are turning. Helldrake, Dragonfire, melting Space Marines here, melting Space Marines there. The Storm Raven, which was jinking after the Predator shot, was ripped down out of the sky by the Demon Prince, and in the big melee, in the Eye of Terror, Typhus got smashed apart, as so did Chaplain Snow. And then in that fight, I got 2 Terminators left and the Dreadnought. They're up against 7 Plague Marines, a champion with the Murder Sword, and 3 normal Chaos Space Marines. With the Veterans of the Long War there, that stung. And also I had Enfeeble on my Terminators. They were reeling from a spell cast out from this big bad guy, which dropped them down to toughness 3. That was painful. And now there's a demon here and a demon there. This fight could be broken open. My Land Raider also took a direct shell to the face from that Vindicator and blew up, and there's only 3 guys left. They're not pinned. Over in the backfield, the Ironclad has broken free, finally slaughtering the very last of those spawn, and he's about to punch that Vindicator in the back, get revenge for it wrecking the Land Raider. But as I mentioned earlier, there's very few units in the backfield that are combat effective. There's some zombies, there's the Predator there. Not a lot happening back here, but over here, it's getting nasty. We just remember to resolve this assault with the Obliterator who killed that last scout. This unit here, the quad gun, could be in trouble. Yeah, I've got some tactical Marines still hiding in those rhinos there, but we've seen what happens when I put round after round after round into these Demon Princes. Nothing happens to them. Not with their 2+ jink, not because they're shrouded in filth and fungus. In the earlier turns of the games, it looked like the forces of Chaos were in trouble, but now, as more and more and more forces get sucked into this melee, they could win this one. Could they? It's desperate stuff, desperate stuff. Let's move on to Space Marine turn 5, I believe. It's desperate stuff here, desperate stuff. I thought by the end of the game it would be clear which side is winning, but it's not clear which side is winning. There are still 5 Space Marines remaining in that one, and 5 Space Marines remaining in this one, but as you can see, the rest of my tacticals are all beginning to get out and spread out and try and get as much firepower as I can into that Demon Prince. And he forgot there were some Terminators in the Land Raider behind him. I need them to try and save the day, because if that melee gets joined by 2 Demon Princes, this game will be all over. So there's the assault. Those heroes have to make it in there, those elites. And all this firepower will try and cut through those jinking, flapping, bestial wings. Got to deal with this Obliterator as well. Can't have it rampaging around the backfield. So there's a las cannon there, plasma cannon there, this quad bolter here. Got to try and deal with it. Haven't got anything to deal with the Helldrakes this turn, particularly as my flyers in the backfield have flown off. There's still some scouts left, look. Still 2 scouts who are going to join the melee, along with these 3 guys who are going to join this Eye of Terror, this cluster bleep in the middle here. Round the back, we already did the Ordnance barrage, and the Ordnance came in and smashed open that Vindicator, which I was very pleased about. We do it at the very beginning of the turn before any movement happens. So my Ironclad has shifted across this way, because this is the only vehicle remaining in the Chaos Space Marine army that still has some troops in it. Hopefully a Melter Shot will be able to wreck it. It's got 1 hold point left, and then I can charge the juicy contents. So some mopping up action around there and here. It's just a mess. With tacticals spread out all the way along the back line, let's bring as many holy bottle rounds as I can into these demons and try and take them out. In the shooting phase, this demon has Iron Arm, toughness 8, so all the firepower I could bring to bear went in on this demon up here, and with explosive rounds and las cannon rounds and plasma rounds, managed to blow him up, managed to shoot through that smoke cloud, that toxic miasma that was around him, blown him back off the wall of lies, and a cheer goes up amongst the 13th. I also managed to take out that Obliterator before he came charging in and killed this squad here. That was pretty much it. The Ironclad failed to wreck that, so now I've got a charge, and now I've got some charges, and now they've got some charges here. If I can get rid of this demon, I might be able to turn this game around. Otherwise, it could be all over for the 13th. I've got to bring him down. I've got to bring him down. Let's move on to the assault phase. In the assault phase, one lone Hammernator managed to survive the attacks because that demon is incredibly frightening and is locking him up, and the demon is now concussed. They'll swing at each other at the same time, and maybe, just maybe, I might be able to take him out. And then round here, the scouts and the normal squad managed to get into an assault. I've lost one more Terminator, killed a few more Chaos Space Marines. It's desperate stuff here. The Ironclad made it into combat with this Rhino, punched it open. This squad are out, they're not pinned. So much carnage, so many bodies. This fight could still go either way. Let's go on to turn 7. In turn 7, Bale Flame is erupting across the backfield again, killing more and more and more tactical marines. This demon is on one wound left. Yes, he dragged down that last heroic Hammernator, but not before he could smack him and take another wound off of him. Around here, all the Terminators are dead. I've got 2 scouts left and Brother Matthias the Dreadnought. And up against them are 3 Plague Marines and that captain, that leader of the forces of chaos. So we are just murdering each other here, and it's going on and on and on. And unless I can stop that demon prince, he's going to be in there as well and start killing. And all I've got left to deal with it when it moves to my turn is a ton of tactical marines. Round here, empty vehicle, empty vehicle. Chaos Space Marines trying to run away from an Ironclad. The Ironclad's taking shots from the Predator over there, but bouncing off and ricocheting into some of the cover that is in the way. Predator's still combat effective. This Hellbrute was immobilized a long time ago. But this side of the table is getting very empty. Mind you, this side of the table is getting very empty as well. So many things dying. I've got to kill that demon. Anyway, let's move on to Space Marines, turn 7. The Vox has lit up with urgent calls for air support, and air support has come. Operation Kill the Demon is in effect like a noose. The Talons and the Raptors are closing in on this jinking piece of filth. I've got to take it out. I reckon if I take that out, then I've won. So, las cannons, infantry, attack bikes, everything poised to take this on. I've also got some redundant firepower in the backfield. There's a las cannon remaining in this unit. The Imperial Marine, Brother Corlin, still in that unit. There is some additional firepower that I can fire up at those flyers as well if I need to. The Ironclad is going to make short work of the last Chaos Space Marine unit in the backfield. That will also give him precious cover from the Predator over there. Meanwhile, this fight is not over by any short work of the imagination. All I know is the Space Marine side of the table is incredibly busy, and this side of the table, just bodies and bloodshed remain. It's been a long fight. It has been a brutal fight. 5,500 points aside. We've been hacking chunks out of each other's flesh. Both armies are weary, both of us bone tired, but we will not give up. We will rage against the dying of the light and destroy chaos in all its forms. Let's pull the trigger. It is the very bottom of turn 7, and this is the way the world ends. A victory for the forces of the God Emperor of Man. Huron, the tyrant of Badab, has fallen. The 13th are victorious. Las cannon fire, Talon fire managed to finally bring that demon down, and then all the redundant firepower in the backfield fired up and tore one of the Helldrakes out of the sky. This thing's jinking. So much firepower here from so many few units that were remaining, but I've managed to clear my lines, and then in this fight all the Plague Marines are suddenly dead, and my scouts, and Matthias, the honoured Dreadnought brother, is still alive, and if it went on another turn, I'm sure that champion would be dead as well, and that would be all the HQs of the forces of Nurgle destroyed. When we look across the table and see what's remaining of the forces of chaos, well, the Ironclad has got these guys in assault, and he'll make his way through there. They can't hurt him, but they're fearless. Empty Rhino, ruined things. Immobilized Hellbrute. There's a Predator back there, which is still combat effective, and these zombies pushing forward all this game. There's 2 units there that are combat effective, and the Raptor and the Helldrake, and that's pretty much it. I've still got all 3 of my flyers. 5 men in this, 5 men in this. Lots of incidental fire. This las cannon guy still alive. 2 missile launchers in the Devastator squad still alive. A Thunderfire still alive. Quad bolter still alive. I've still got more little bits of units scattered about here, there, and everywhere that could nibble and tickle and harass. Undoubtedly, demon princes of Nurgle with iron armor on them are virtually unkillable, and that served Tom's devious plan very, very well. But what hurt him was his reserve rolls. I think if he had more stuff come on quicker and push up and put a lot of pressure into the Imperial lines, he could have potentially won that, because that game was on a knife edge in turn 4 or 5. But because he couldn't get all of his stuff there as quickly as I got my army on, I was able to bring a lot of firepower into bear on the stuff that had pushed forward on this side of the Wall of Lies. Well, we really enjoyed that battle report. That was awesome. It was very back and forth. I very much enjoyed myself. Great to see a Nurgle army. They're always very pretty, and Tom enjoyed himself very much too. So thank you guys, thank you for watching, and a happy wargame.